We're going to be speaking with Brittany Kinser, candidate for Department of Public Instruction Superintendent. As some of you know, now the rest of you will know, the election is tomorrow. The primary election is tomorrow. Brittany Kinser, how are you this morning?
Good morning, Sherwin. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Apparently there's an election tomorrow, and your name is on the ballot. You are running for the Department of Public Instruction Superintendent. Before we get to that, since we last spoke, an audit came out, one of two audits that was commissioned by the governor of the state of Wisconsin. It was essentially a 41-page dossier, which is scathing in its review of how public education in the Milwaukee public schools is being administered. Your thoughts on that audit and any changes that you think could be made immediately?
Oh, my gosh. So, it was a blistering testament to, the MPS's, gross mismanagement of resources and then also just how we haven't been putting children first in MPS, and it stated that in the report. So we need to have a sense of urgency. We need to be partnering with the the DPI needs to be partnering more closely with MPS, not just on the financial audits, but also on ensuring that children are receiving the instruction they need and that the teachers are getting the support they need and the transparency that our families need to understand what is happening in the schools. And if I become the superintendent of public instruction, we will have an office here in Milwaukee where we are partnering with the new superintendent, making sure there's transparency and support for our teachers and our children. We have to put our children first, with only 9% of children in Milwaukee reading proficiently, according to our nation's report card, and then only 5% of our Black children. This is a crisis, and we have to start acting like that. So there needs to be plans right away, plans put into action right away.
Brittany, what kind of impact can a DPI superintendent have on any one school district? Because I think some people think that there's a disproportionate amount of power and control and impact that a DPI superintendent can have over a school district. So kind of define what some of the roles, duties, and responsibilities are and how a DPI superintendent can or cannot impact a local school district.
Yeah, so a local school district in Wisconsin, we have local control, and so it's really the elected school board and the school district. The school board's number one role is to ensure that students are learning, but they need to have accurate and transparent information with their school district. So at DPI, the Department of Public Instruction does not have any kind of boss or board. It's the voters. So you're able to, as a superintendent, set the standards. You're in charge of the testing, the standardized testing. You also have all the federal money coming through DPI. You also can make information very transparent and predictable for schools and school districts. There are areas where you can have an emergency act where you can pull back money if schools are not, performing. But I think DPI can also set the vision for what is best practices for our state. I believe we need to restore our high standards, making sure we're focusing on teaching reading, writing, and math so all of our children can get a meaningful job or go to college or, master a trade, and making sure that we have the best practices readily available for our districts so that they can use the Department of Public Instruction as a place for, great instruction, and then the school boards having the information that's easily available. I've talked about making sure we have a dashboard that has all the information that school boards need and school boards need and parents need, so you don't have to search and wonder. So making it much easier. Like I say, I want to make sure that DPI is transparent, it's predictable, and innovative.
Brittany, they say that you're a part of some secret cabal to completely privatize all of the schools in Wisconsin. You're going to be a voucher person. So you got, 5%, maybe 6% of the children in the state that are going to school with that kind of a scholarship. Why is that 5 or 6%? So 95%, 94% of the children in the state of Wisconsin go to a public school. So how are you and your secret cabal going to overturn all of public education and turn Wisconsin into one big voucher?
I don't have that power, and the superintendent of public instruction does not have that power. Right now, I know that focus is the 5% of families who are choosing, who live below a certain income level, who are using the scholarship for their child. 5%. Instead of focusing on the 800,000 children, where we only have 3 out of 10 children, 3 out of 10 that are reading well enough to be college and career ready. They are making this about the idea that I am supportive of parents having choice. In Milwaukee, families have been able to have choice for over 30 years. Half the children in Milwaukee actually are attending choice. Majority, like the biggest choice, is open enrollment, then the scholarship, which people call voucher, and then public charter schools, and then there's also homeschooling and virtual schooling. And so I believe parents should be able to have those choices, but that is not my entire platform. My platform is about restoring high standards, making sure kids are getting great instruction in reading, writing, and math, that we're rewarding our great teachers, that we're partnering with our parents, and that DPI is transparent, it is innovative and predictable. So I do not have that power. The superintendent does not have that power. Families have that power to, they can mobilize and ask for, a school that receives scholarship, but that is something that comes from the parents. That does not come from DPI. And again, that's only 5%. And I feel that we forget that these are families and children that we're talking about. So when they're saying that I'm, supportive of families and kids that receive a voucher, 100% I am. I'm for all the kids and parents. I'm for all of our kids. I have my reading initiative called 95 Wisconsin. That's research-based. We know that 95% of children can read well enough to go to college or get a career if they get the instruction they need. And that is what is possible in Wisconsin. So if we support our teachers, we're working with our parents, making sure we're transparent so we know where our children are at, not waiting until after 3rd grade, but actually implementing the Act 22, making sure that we know where kids are at in kindergarten and 1st grade and 2nd grade so they can even get intervention if they need. So no, I cannot make everything privatized. I am for, public education. I'm for all the different options for families.
Speaking with Brittany Kinser.
Thanks for asking that, Sherwin.
She's a candidate for Department of Public Instruction Superintendent. Brittany, can you give a quick synopsis of how the standards, how we look at standards were lowered under Jill Underly to give the appearance that there are more children proficient in reading than they actually are? There was some disagreement between the national standards and the state standards. Can you give us a quick rundown, because that might be confusing for some people, of what Jill Underly did to adjust those standards, where the governor even publicly disagreed with her on doing that?
Yeah, so the governor, when he was superintendent, set the standards high so that we could be aligned with the nation's report card, so we can compare how we're doing across our country. And they are high standards, but we know children will meet those standards if we believe in them and make sure they have the resources they need. And so back, I guess, in the spring, I don't know the process because they're not being transparent about it, but they did bring 80 educators, it seems like, together. They lowered, so then Jill Underly then, I guess, so whatever that process was, again, it's not transparent, she decided to lower the standards. So now it looks like there are more children, 50% of children who are reading proficiently enough to go to college and get a job, but that's not accurate. We know that it looks better, but it's not actually aligned with the nation's report card. We know that the ACT score doesn't align with what Jill Underly has done. We know we can't now compare how children have been doing from before COVID and after COVID because they completely changed the cut score. And so all it does is right now it makes it look like more children are prepared when they're not. It's not fair. It's not good for kids because when they do get out of school, they're going to find that they're not prepared. Their employer will know. Colleges will know. So we have to go back to making sure we restore those high standards and make sure our kids are getting what they need so they are prepared. And so hopefully I described that. She lowered it to make the score so to make it look like more kids are prepared when they're not.
Brittany, the election is tomorrow. I guess, what do you say to folks who still don't know who they're going to support? I actually was having a text message conversation with an educator this morning, and she said that she is unsure as to who she is going to vote for. So if there are voters that are still on the fence, what do you say to get them to come over to your side?
I say if you want to restore our high standards for our children, because we know they deserve so much better. If you want to refocus on teaching reading, writing, and math so kids can get a meaningful job, attend college, or master a trade. If you believe in partnering with our parents, ensuring more of our money gets into the classroom, and we are rewarding our great teachers because they deserve every penny of that when they're working that hard. They work for every penny, and making sure there's less bureaucracy and making sure that the Department of Public Instruction is transparent, that it's predictable and innovative, and believe that we can get 95% of our children reading well enough. Please vote for me. Again, you can go to Kinser for wikids.com to learn more about me and sign up for my newsletters and information. And again, vote tomorrow. Please have a plan. It's supposed to be really cold tomorrow. So polls are open around 7 a.m. So please vote, and thank you for the opportunity to talk with you, Sherwin.
Thank you, Brittany, and good luck tomorrow. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.